Should you forgive a friend who has hurt you deeply? Forgiving a friend may not be easy, but it could be good for your mental health. There's no sugarcoating it. It hurts to be hurt by a friend. When a friend wrongs you, you may question whether the friendship is worth keeping. Yet, even if you feel uncertain about whether you can fix the friendship, practicing forgiveness could be good for your mental health, on top of good for your relationship.
Someone gave me advice. They said, not everyone that's hurt you cares. Forgiveness lets you off the hook. Why would you carry that with you? The person doesn't care. Why are you tainting and infecting all the amazing moments that could happen in your life with someone that doesn't care how they hurt you? So how do you figure out how to...
You can have a friend who hurts you. And there have been times and moments in my life that God has hurt me. I've gone through something that was painful and difficult to endure. That's when I had to trust him and not just believe him. Come on, somebody. I couldn't see my way out of it. I couldn't see how I would get out of it. But I told God, God, I trust you. That if you have allowed me to go through this dark place in my life, that it must be for my good. I know that you are for me. And even though this hurts me, faithful are the wounds of a friend. If I'm really your friend, I got to be able to tell you the truth. It may strain the relationship, but I've got to be able to tell you the truth. If I'm really your friend, I won't let you come out the house looking silly. If I'm really your friend, I'm gonna tell you, I don't normally say this to you, but that don't look good on you. That's not your best look. This is not your best day. Maybe you shouldn't wear that. Now, if you override that, that's your business. But I'm gonna say that if I'm really your friend. If I'm really your friend, I'm gonna say you spoke out of turn to him. That wasn't his fault. That was your fault. If I'm really your friend, a real friend takes risk of your scorn. And that's why you can't have a whole lot of friends, because it takes work to be a friend. You have to put things on the line to be a friend. You have to get in the fight with them. And sometimes you got to argue with them. Sometimes you got to wrestle with them to get them to the place that they can see. And sometimes they get hurt and you're yelling at each other, and then you're crying and you're going through all kinds of changes. For real relationship takes work. But if you're really my friend, you would never hurt me for the sake of hurting me. You might wound me to protect me. If you have a child, you might push the child out of the way and they skin their knee on the sidewalk, but you saw a car coming. I didn't push you because I'm mean. I pushed you because you're in danger. And before I let the car hit you, I'd skin your knee up. Yes, I pushed you, knocked you over. You skinned your knee, but I stopped you from something coming after you. And every now and then, in order to stop you from something that's coming after you, God will let you skin you.
So how do you forgive someone that has said or done something really bad, really hurtful? The trick is to do it with your heart and not with your mind. If you do it only with your head, it's normally because you've been sold this idea that you're supposed to be this good, forgiving person, but you're not ready for it, or that you feel pressure from people around you that you're supposed to be the better person and just forgive and get on with it. Maybe to keep up this image of a good united family, or you're being nice co-workers, or you keep the relationship, your family going. But then you can develop this passive aggressiveness and you can turn bitter, because there is a discord between how you feel and what you say, that you've forgiven that other person. So be careful with that. Real forgiveness comes from a deeper space. It comes from you being connected to your core, your essence, your heart, when you're not up in your thoughts about it. Yes, you can sort of prepare by zooming out and looking at this person from a larger perspective and saying, okay, hey, wait a minute. Most people, most of the time, they do the best they can with what they have in their, in their toolbox, in their programming, what they've been through. So if you would have been born in the same place, to the same parents, in the same era, and with the same abilities, disabilities, possibilities, experience the same traumas and good times and all of that, maybe, just maybe, you might have said, done, felt, or feared the same things. as this person. And why do people do bad things? Because they're not awake. They don't know themselves deep down. They're not connected. They feel separate. They're lost. They're asleep. So if you zoom out, you can look at that bigger picture. It's much easier to forgive. So I would recommend that you, in meditation, in mindfulness, when you're present and you're in contact with your innermost being, that's when you put your attention to this person. And then you can just feel that there is no separation, that you're connected on a deep level. There is this connection and everything is fine and it's okay. Doesn't mean that you are justifying this bad behavior, doesn't mean that you're okay with it. It just means that you don't let that be a burden inside you. You let universe, God, take care of it. You don't need to hold it inside of you anymore. You don't have to be rigid about it, create blockages and carry it like this heavy backpack. It means that you release that and let go of it. It's not your business anymore to hold on to that anger or sadness or disappointment. Don't let it build up and become a bitterness. It's about you, loving you and having care for yourself. Yes, you might have moments when you're up in your head, you're thinking about stuff, and then go back into meditation and go back into that space when you're in contact with the present, with yourself, with your essence, with your heart. And there, again, you might have to go back and do that a few times. It's not said that just because you've done it once that you're never going to think about it again. A warning. If you are dealing with a pathological narcissist, especially a malignant one, and if you're in an abusive relationship, the forgiveness is not the most important thing at the moment. It's normally about or getting out of there or getting help how to deal with it. Because if you say to the narcissist that you've forgiven them, they're just going to take advantage of that and continue to treat you bad. And you focusing on forgiving might distract you from creating and maintaining good, healthy boundaries. And it might also make you a magnet for other narcissists. So yes, you might, on a deeper level, you might forgive them. But don't say it to the narcissist, to the abuser. It doesn't help the situation. It will normally just get it worse. So keep that.
How can I forgive someone who has hurt me deeply? Being unwilling to forgive shows that you have not understood or benefited from God's forgiveness. If you have been forgiven, that forgiveness will create in you a forgiving heart towards others. We should be more concerned about our offenders and their relationship with God, and less about not seeing our own grudges and self-pity. Because the person most hurt.
Mark 11:23-25. Jesus said, "Whatsoever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. And when you stand praying, if anyone has wronged you, forgive." Jesus connected these verses together on purpose because he wanted us to know that releasing those who have offended us is fundamental to receiving from God. Unforgiveness will cut off the supernatural power supply. Forgiveness is an act of grace. To forgive is to release someone of the burden of their wrong. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 26 says, "Be angry, but do not sin." Staying angry is like drinking poison, thinking someone else will die. Unforgiveness will make you sick physically. We have to learn to release by faith and not by feelings, and let God handle the offender. I pray and I beg you, as I end this faith series, that you will not allow unforgiveness to clog the faith channel. Hope you've been blessed.
How do you forgive people who hurt you deeply? If you think about it from God's perspective, people who hurt people have also been hurt. You've heard of the terms hurting people hurt people. Well, it's true. When you have been hurt yourself, you will hear a lot of negative thoughts that will cause you to be angry at other people, to be more selfish, to be more jealous, to trigger on people. So those who have been hurt the worst, the deepest, will tend to hurt other people. So therefore, if you've got a mom or a dad that hurt you deeply, I guarantee you that they have also been hurt themselves. And when you can see those people from God's perspective, then you can truly forgive them. Give them to God. Doesn't mean that you stay in that toxic relationship with them, but you forgive them, which means I'm going to give you to God. I'm not going to take vengeance out on you, and I'm going to make sure that I am on a safe ground, safe territory. Of course, a lot of people have been hurt when they have grown up, from their fathers, from their mothers, from sexual violations, from being shown pornography, from being touched sexually, and so forth. So what you have to do is to forgive them from the Lord's perspective. And how do you do that if you're really angry and bitter at what they did? You ask Jesus to come to speak to you, to show you from his perspective why those people did what they did to you. And then once you learn that, okay, Jesus showed me, that my father was hurt deeply, or that my mother was hurt deeply, or the person that touched, me sexually was also hurt themselves. They were also touched. Then you can forgive. You give them to the Lord, and then you can take authority and command the demonic spirits that would have attached to your soul to be gone to the pit. And then the next time you think about that person, you don't have a lot of anger and bitterness. You don't get triggered. You don't want to hurt them. You've given them to the Lord, and you are now free. That is what you have to do with every person that's ever hurt you, is to see them from the Lord's perspective, forgive them, and then command the demonic spirits to go that attach to you. There you go. See ya.
I will always choose you.
Lately, wish you could trade eyes with me, 'cause there's complexities in complexion, but your skin is glow like diamonds. Dig me like the earth, you be giving birth to everything alive, baby, know your worth. I love everything about you, from your nappy curls to every single curve, your body natural. Same skin that was broken, be the same skin taking over. Most things out of focus view, but when you're in the room, they notice you. 'Cause you're beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful. Them and them gon' fall in love with you in all of your glory. Your skin is not only dark, it shines and it tells your story. You dancing, they can't control you. They watching, they all adore you. Lately, wish you could trade eyes with me, 'cause there's complexities in complexion, but your skin is glow like diamonds. Dig me like the earth, you be giving birth to everything alive, baby, know your worth. I love everything about you, from your nappy curls to every single curve, your body natural. Same skin that was broken, be the same skin taking over.